Every 5 minutes, we lose an American between the ages of 12 and 45 to fentanyl poisoning, equivalent to 300 lives a day. That is like an airliner crashing to the ground every single day. It's a 9/11 event happening every 2 weeks. That's 300 precious lives a day. The takeaway should be, this is a crisis.
That I've used. I actually had a face-to-face meeting with the Chinese officials, their police. We see it, we knew. They stopped shipping the stuff straight into the country. They started involving themselves with the Mexican criminal organizations. We have two significant, it's called Sinaloa cartel and the New Generation Jalisco cartel. Those are the two predominant, based in Mexico, that are supplying the vast majority of these synthetic drugs.
My son's actual blue Plaid shirts are placed upon the chairs of the speakers and our special guests today. These shirts were his style, his calling card, and now I ask that our blue Plaid skull and crossbones be the symbol that says to dealers, we are aware of this poison, we know what you are doing, and we are no longer buying.
Florida has 80 miles of stretch in Brevard County. It's called Interstate 95. So while our problems then were not as significant as other counties might be, particularly Metro-Dade and Brevard and Orange County, we felt that we needed to participate in that because it brought us extra resources, particularly from the federal government when it comes to funding, so that we could step up our operations a little bit more.
On top of that, there were 108 million young adults using unregulated social media. Their market is virtually unlimited. Drug dealers don't care about killing 100,000 addicts or first-time experimenters or anything in between when they have millions to sell to. It's just the cost of doing business. Anyone can order a fake pill or a bag of powder and have it delivered to the door.
It's very important that you never deliver any kind of pill, any kind of controlled substance to anyone. A family member, a friend, that is a crime in the state of Florida. The last one, of course, is the trafficking of fentanyl, and like I mentioned, we are filing quite a bit of that. I think so far this year, I tried to run the numbers, and it's not going to be perfect, but we filed at least 41 trafficking in fentanyl cases.
Drugs cause even greater dopamine release. Heroin hijacks your brain and makes you produce dopamine at 10 times your normal level. Fentanyl makes you produce dopamine at 100 times your normal level. The high is higher. If you survive, the crash is greater, and the addiction cycle is even tougher to break. It's simply unnatural, unnecessary, and insane.
It's so simple to describe. There's normal people and there's abnormal people. You normal people, you start to feel that dopamine, you go, whoa, I've had enough. And then there's abnormal people like me, I start to feel the dopamine and I go, bring it on. It's only just begun. And my drug of choice is more, it doesn't matter what it is, and if my frontal lobe is shut off because I've crossed the line into addiction, I'm not stopping to ask where is this chemical from, where did you get it, who's supplying it to you. No, I'm operating out of the pleasure center of my brain, which means that I'm not asking any questions.
In 2022, there is virtually no crime, and I'm going to take a wag at it and say probably between 90 and 95% of all crimes committed in this county encompass a digital component. Does anybody know what that means? Great. The internet, the interwebs, cell phones, iPads. The use of electronic devices is prolific in all levels of crime, particularly in the drug trade. So I think Suzy made reference to it. I think Ms. Hoffman, you did as well. That perhaps it's time for us to step up and not hand off our iPhone 13s and the next generations to our 13 and 14-year-olds without some parental oversight about who they're communicating with and what they're seeing on the internet.
Our Good Samaritan law protects you from being incarcerated, okay? If you call 911, if you come upon an overdose victim and you're at the party and maybe you even were part of what was going on, call 911. You need to tell your kids this. They're so afraid. I had a young person come up to me this week, but what if the police take them to jail? I'm like, they're going to take them to the emergency room, and the emergency room is going to administer health.
With an overdose, you obtain a drug. You know exactly what that drug is. You get the drug you were expecting. There is a prescribed amount or generally known safe amount to take, and you either knowingly or unknowingly take too much when you succumb to it. With illicit fentanyl, there is no safe dosage. Criminal organizations are knowingly disguising a harmful substance in other drugs or fake pills and deceiving us into thinking it is traditional street drugs or prescription medication. What you are actually getting is an unregulated synthetic poison that can kill you. My son didn't die of a heroin overdose. He was deceived into thinking he was getting heroin. He died with the needle still in his arm. That is not an overdose. That is a drug-induced murder.
But why does it seem that, I guess there are so many overdoses, but it seems like sometimes they just get kind of passed over, you know, and no one really looks into it when someone passes away.
If you are the victim of an overdose and you tell us who gave you the drug, and we go to their house, what is their first answer going to be to our question? I don't know nothing about them. Okay, so trying to establish either probable cause to make an arrest on that, or proof beyond a reasonable doubt to get a conviction in criminal court is a monumental effort. And barring some physical evidence, ironclad digital forensic evidence in the form of Snapchats or text messages that would clearly establish that Party A gave Party B the narcotics, it is a very difficult case to prosecute. Please don't assume that because an arrest was not made, that was never looked into, because I'll look you straight in the face and say it absolutely was.
I can tell you, I've seen the destruction in the family. I've seen how it hurts. I've seen how people emotionally break down. I don't wish that on anyone. I wish this was more readily available and not charged and not have to spend your own money on medication if needed that can save somebody's life. Not your family members, maybe somebody on the road, maybe somebody at your Walmart, Publix, maybe just you may change somebody's life. You may change it for the better.
When people understand we are trying to save their children from instant death and not the broken record of drug use and relapse, the tide will turn. Remember, it is our job to reduce the demand. Let's do that by educating our young people and parents. Let's take this message to schools, churches, community centers. Change will not come if we wait for someone else to do it. It will not come if we wait for another time. Many drug dealers want to kill their customers. This question is frequently asked. First, there is no such thing as an ethical drug dealer. They are simply after the money. They do not care if they kill your loved one. For them, the pay outweighs the risk.
But I want you to know, we want to partner with everyone, because this mission that I have involves you. It's safeguarding our community, and right now we're under attack. And sadly, you're going to see on a slide in a few minutes that China is supplying a lot, 99% of the precursors that are killing our children, our son, our daughter.
We have built a poster that we're hoping to get in every public school. And any help you can give us to do that, we want to get these posters out there into our schools. We want to speak to students. We want to speak to parents. We want to be present and be actively carrying this message. Fentanyl kills. One pill can kill.
What we would call then overdoses, now we do call poisonings, particularly as it relates to fentanyls, interact with one another. So we have a homicide agent or agents that have to go out and they have to assess scenes, conduct an investigation.
And fentanyl is the highest trafficking charge that I filed. After that, it is meth. I probably filed 5 trafficking cases per year. In the past 3-4 years, I'm filing 5 per month, easily.
Which one's fake and which one's real? It's almost impossible to tell now, sadly. And so this is what we're dealing with. This is what we receive. That's why we ask that you as parents, you as loved ones, you as concerned citizens, talk to people. Only take those prescriptions that are bought from a legitimate pharmacist registered, or if it's in a box that's purchased from the pharmacy.
Years, I watched people literally walk off my unit after doing a 28-day program, get a bad batch of fentanyl and die. I had one group of 5 actually just complete the program and literally walked out the door, used together, got a bad batch, and all passed away. This is a horrible epidemic.
Toxic level which can kill a person is 5 nanogram per milliliter, and 1 nanogram is 1 billion of a single unit. So you can imagine how low it is. And the lethal is 7 nanogram or 8 nanogram per milliliter. So anyway, in our medical examiner office, we also see the students. They come from the Eastern Florida Community College. They also come from pharmacy. They also come from the pre-meds. They also come from the other divisions, chemistry department. We teach number one thing is that if somebody has been taking this much, didn't die, sometimes we take a very small granule like 5 or 6 granule or grain of sugar or salt that can kill the person.
So I know there's people out there that look at the push for Narcan to be in people's hands as, you know, a bad idea. I don't think that's that way. I look at it as a way to put life-saving medication and to save somebody's life.
This is Narcan. I have 9 grandchildren and 6 of them vape. I have no idea what's in their vapes, but how would I know when to administer this if they're out on the ground? And would it hurt them if I didn't? I have no idea.
Again, you see pinpoint pupils, agonal respiration, meaning breathing every so often, unresponsive, blue lids. I would go ahead and give it to them.
Yeah, even before this crisis, this time of the fentanyl and the illicit fentanyl, anytime the rescue people will come to see any unresponsive person, they will inject without any hesitation. They will give naloxone, they will give dextrose. Those are pretty common, so they are pretty safe.
You might take 1 pill, line, or shot, and nothing happens to you. Or you might take one with a little bit, you might feel sleepy or high. But eventually, you will get a pill, or a line, or a shot that is deadly. In this process, it is not a question of if, it is a question of